Alright, I made it back with another video. This one is going to be on going like this, probably for the whole 10 minutes. No, that's probably just a nervous something or other. About shipping fish in a nice, somewhat free and simple way to offer the most protection for the fish throughout all kinds of weather. So for the coldest parts of the year, I'll either make a inner styrofoam thing out of the stuff you could buy from any hardware store probably, or Home Depot, Lowe's, and line it with duct tape around the edges and corners so that it keeps the temperature as even as it can be with the heat pack. The other thing is if you buy some steaks, treat yourself to like Omaha or whatever the other ones are, Kansas City. Get some steaks and burgers, have a cookout, eat some good food, and then you can use this incredible Styro, which is about 1.5 inches thick. Ooh, it's like Monster Chiller 3D Theater. Look at that. I'm sure I'm the only one old enough to remember that on SCTV. And it's got a nice lid that actually kind of seals. So I really don't like just shipping like this. You know, you actually could just tape this. So what I do, or what I did, is I bought about 25 boxes from Uline. Gently put that down. That's as general as I can be. And you know, they ship them obviously flat, so you get a skid, not really a skid, you get a bundle like this of 25, and you just turn it into a box. Now I had measured the outside of those because I got a bunch of them, and I'm not sure if we can get this on here. It might end up being backwards, I don't know, it depends with the iPhone camera, but I think it might straighten out. But you can see right over here, Uline gives you the dimensions, length, width, height, and I'm doing so well holding the props. So what you end up doing, after you put the fish in, you do that, you do this, and you have pretty much an excellent fit. So I just would line the area here with newspaper or something to keep this from bouncing around, or even styrofoam, and it becomes a very solid, tight, closed box, especially if I can do it right. And there we go. This is how I would ship fish in the winter. And I guess if you don't include the price of the steaks and stuff, then you could say it's almost like a free styrofoam liner. But it works out great. The other way is I get the free postal boxes, which this will only work for people in the United States. The post office won't give boxes to overseas. I get the medium and the large, which I put them somewhere. Alright, the flat rate boxes. And here you go. And you know, you can get them at the local post office. And this also gives you the inside and the outside dimensions. And you can also see my finger. But that's good because you're going to have to measure cutting the flat styrofoam, which we're going to go into next. So I'm going to move the camera enough to see my face. My very cool Pickle Rick shirt from Rick and Morty. And we'll start working on this stuff. You're going to need the styrofoam sheet. You have to measure. You're going to need a utility knife. And you have to be, I'm going to say you have to be really careful with these, with it actually. Because everybody knows this can be very dangerous. And by this I'm talking about the styrofoam, not the knife, because this has a cover. So you really want to be careful as you cut it. You just measure and I'll just move the camera, iPhone, as I cut this and fit it into a box. So I'm going to fit it into a medium flat rate, a large flat rate, and like an Amazon box that ordered some stuff, and it came in a fantastic box to use to ship fish with. So let me get to that, and we'll try to get a couple of words in from the fish room butler so you can hear his guidance. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Thank you for that public service announcement. So I could really use a cameraman, but I'm going to have to try to do this one-handed. What you do is you take the knife. I already measured out and cut the first piece. This is going to be the top and the bottom. And you can either mark it, or you could use this as a steady template. And you want to cut it the size. And then all you have to do is lift this up, find a place you manage to cut it, and what happens is this will fold and break just like the New York Jets offense and defense. Let's see if it does the same as they do. Perfect. And there you go. If you ever watch the New York Jets game, you know that's how they play. And you just bend it back a little bit after you cut it, of course. And that's it. And you got a top now and a bottom. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to show what the box looks like fully assembled. So like I said, you have to be really careful when you're handling these tools. Once again, the knife. And you have to be careful when you're handling the styrofoam, especially, because it's very dangerous stuff, and you never know what could happen. So, oh, sweet Christmas, look at this. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go to urgent care. Wait a minute, turned over. Oh, talk about a bad joke. There we go, look at that, I'm missing a fingernail. Son of a gun. All right, cheap prop. Ah, it's a shame. Alright, I have to go to urgent care. I'll be back and I'll show you what happens when we cut up the boxes. Be careful with styrofoam. Alright, this will wrap up the video. So this is what we have after working in the fish room at about 55% humidity. It's really hot. It was 94 degrees here in Philly yesterday, which is totally insane. And now it's down to 61. But the fish room with the air turned off is now not 61. So while I was at the urgent care place getting my finger put back on, looks pretty good. This is actual live footage. I was watching Michael's fish room video, and as soon as his face came on, that's what happened. So now I got to go back there, get my eye put back in. But I will trudge on, and I will finish this video so that you know how to make your own boxes. So it's a little bit of pain, but we can get through it. So that's the one. This would be in the winter for a larger shipment, and that would be very secure with the even with temperatures dropping, because I'll use a heat pack and there will literally no air will get in. This is the one I made out of the Amazon box, which somewhere it'll say Amazon. Here we go. So you can see I made a very nice inner styro. Used duct tape to seal the seams. Got a nice lid, which will fit if I put it on right. And then we just seal it up and we're done. So this is another kind you can do. If you only have to ship like a trio or a pair of fish to somebody, these usually cost somewhere under $10 to ship most of the country, unless you're shipping all the way across the other side of the country. So once again, if I could actually hold it straight, they give you the dimensions on the back, and inside is ID, outside is OD. OD cuffed, I think, has something to do with drinking a beer, I'm not sure. So you would gently put the box down, and then you just build yourself a inner styro container. This one was the very thick walled styro, so that'll be great to ship in the winter as well. This is the medium shipping box, flat rate, so we have a nice styro for that one. Then the final one I made is out of the large flat rate box, and you can see I did the same thing. I cut everything to measure, used some duct tape to seal the seams, then the lid goes on if I put it on right, and we are in business. So that's how I make inner styros for boxes. I range from finding a styro, nice thick walled one, to making them out of the styrofoam. It's actually called polypanel cellophane stuff. That's the manufacturer. Contains 6 pieces that are 3/4 inch wide, or 3/4 inch thick, 14.5 wide, and they're 48 inches long. So you really don't want to have to, if you make styros for something that's wider than the 14 inches, you can duct tape the styrofoam together to make a longer length. But you're going to pay more with shipping with the post office anyway. United States Post Office. Once the size of the box goes over a certain amount, you are going to pay a surcharge, even if the box, especially if the box doesn't weigh that much. So there's times when you can, like for instance, if I use this box, it's the flat rate is $19.95, and it's about the same size as this one, tiny bit smaller. And if I use this one and shipped it somewhere west of the Mississippi, that box is probably going to cost me about $20, and that's part of how they handle their shipping rates. Unfortunately, the different zone you ship close to you, and it's not so expensive. You can actually cut people a break and use a different kind of box, make your own box like I did, or use something like this, and they'll probably pay less than the $19.95. Now this one they'll pay more because it's a larger box and it goes over the size limitations, which I think is something like 16 by 14 by 12. So you can check with the post office and ask them, but don't bother with the postal site, because you'll get a cheaper price, and when you get to the post office with a box of this size, you'll end up paying more money. Alright, thanks for putting up with my lame sight gag jokes, and I hope you learned something out of this, and if you didn't, the next video will be on guppies.